Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar on how to run a top-down design process. My name is Rob Romanowski. I am the Director of Sales Operations with 3HTI, and today our special guests are Cody Wiltrout, an application engineer from PTC Corporation, and also our resident expert in the Advanced Assembly Extension, Joe DiCarlo. So just a couple of quick housekeeping items. Everybody is going to be on mute during the presentation and the demo. If you have any questions, feel free to type those into the dashboard. We'll try to answer them as we go along if we can, but we will definitely answer all questions at the end. So one of the things I wanted to point out real quick was this interesting graphic that I have on the screen is basically it relates to smart connected cities and smart connected manufacturing processes as it relates to digital transformation. And I think the key word for today is connected as it relates to what we're going to look at in running a top-down design process. And the reason is because the Creo Advanced Assembly Extension allows you to work concurrently with other users on a design. And Cody's going to go a little more into this, but just as a quick example, if you have 3 people working on an assembly and they're working on different areas of the assembly, the Advanced Assembly Extension will automatically update any areas that are affected by the changes and updates that they make automatically. And that doesn't happen with your normal CAD process. So this is more, the Advanced Assembly Extension is more than just working or using a tool for large assemblies. But in addition to a top-down design process. Now, as far as digital transformation is concerned, here's a definition of what digital transformation is. And it's a big buzzword today in manufacturing, and your company may or may not have a digital transformation strategy, but the Advanced Assembly Extension helps support that strategy by offering top-down design capabilities, the concurrent engineering capabilities, and also it allows you to quickly document the steps of your assembly process. And that documentation capability can save you a ton of time. But overall, we at 3HTI, we're positioned to help our customers develop and implement a digital transformation strategy that is unique to your needs and for specifically what digital transformation may mean to you. So this time I'm going to pass everything over to Cody Wiltrout so he can get started with his presentation. So Cody, you have the con.
All right. Go ahead and share my screen here.
I see your email.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I shared the wrong screen.
That happens.
So,
there's PTC.
Screen. There we go. So are you seeing the PowerPoint now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so today we're going to be going through our Advanced Assembly Extension. My name is Cody Wiltrout. I'm with PTC's Virtual Center of Excellence outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it's a pleasure to be here today. So to start off, a little bit of background on why we created this as an extension to begin with. When you're working with an assembly, making something that's made out of 20 parts can be pretty easy. When you get to 200, it gets a little bit tougher, but you can still probably, put that out with maybe 1 or 2 people being able to do all the parts. But when you get to something that's 20,000 parts, now it can start to be a real challenge to be able to design that, to be able to build that out in your CAD tool. When you work with a large assembly, it can be slow to retrieve or to load, and that's time every time that you got to open that to work with it. And that, maybe seems small once, but whenever you're doing that multiple times over multiple projects, that time starts to add up. And realistically, you need tools to help be able to run a top-down design, which is, often the best way to do these types of things. And if you do a change, either late stage or just after you've done, a decent amount of work, it can be a real problem because it can be time consuming and costly to do those changes. If you have something constrained a certain way and you make a change and it breaks that model, now you've got to not only go back, fix that issue, but you've got to find the issue to begin with. And if you're working with multiple people, you might not know how they constrained something or what way they did it. And now, you've got to go back through, figure out what the issue was, and that can cause a lot of problems. Along with that, it can be pretty challenging to swap in and out parts in specific places, as well as the fact that you need to be able to protect your intellectual property. So if you are working externally with other people, you do need to share out parts of your model for them to be able to do work, but you want to be able to protect your intellectual property when you do that. And overall, you need to be able to do these things faster than currently companies often do them. And that's why the solution of the advanced assembly extension was created with those challenges and issues in mind, allowing you to be able to work from a top-down design and collaborate with others quickly and easily while being able to protect your intellectual property. So some capabilities that back this up as an extension. First off, it is built around top-down design, so you can have part placement and then be able to work from there down to the lower level assemblies. And it does this via geometry sharing, so you can take geometries that are important for what you're doing and share those out to people. So if I'm the lead person for a design on something, and maybe even this Jeep, for example, here with this door, if I'm working on the door, I don't care about where the tires are, I don't care about where the engine is, I maybe care about the frame of the body, and that might be it. So maybe the only geometry that's shared with me is the outline of the frame of the body and maybe a rough sketch of what we want the door to be, and then that's what I work off of, rather than having to load in that entire model or even have access to that entire model to see everything. There's also some capability around mechanism design that AAX can help with as well. We won't be going into as much detail on that though. So another capability that it has is a special model type known as a skeleton model. And what the skeleton model really allows you to do is contain all of your key design and interface information inside of it. So you can clean up your BOM structure some, keep all of those key details around referencing, or I should say around design locations, any interface information, all that inside of those. And then you can utilize that information to copy geometries from it, share that out to other people. It's always going to be the first component in the model tree, so you'll be able to easily find it, and you can see it looks a little bit different than what a normal part would look like inside of the tree. And you don't want this to show up inside of your BOM, your mass property calculations, anything like that. It's just for design information. So along with this, you also have some capabilities around reference controls, so you can manage and limit the number of component references that you have. So just a little bit of further utility in that. And we have inheritance models with one-way associativity. So if I made a change to the model on the left, I could have that pushed down to the further models on the right. But if I made a change to the model on the right, we don't have to have two-way associativity pushing those changes back to the other ones. There's also some capabilities around being able to interchange things faster, so you can swap in and out components. So if you have two components that you realistically swap between for different assemblies, or if you have more than one part that you want to be able to look at and see how that would work in something, this gives you the ability to instantly swap out components very quickly and easily. There's also some capabilities around merging and cutouts, and again, just some light capabilities inside of the tool, and we're not going to be going as deep into those today either, but some capabilities that it does have. So I'll go ahead and bring up the demonstration here. Is it paused, my screen currently? Screen is not paused. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, right now we're just seeing PTC. It's like the splash screen.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see if I can get this. Keeps pausing. 1 second here. Sorry, I'm not used to working with GoToMeeting too often here.
No worries, Cody.
This is how you know it's live.
Exactly. Joe, is there anything that you'd like to add about the extension based on what your customers have done?
So, sorry.
Maybe Cody's ready to
get
go.
into it. I think, yep, he's ready to go.
Yep, sorry about that. Okay. So to get started here today, we're going to be working with our locomotive train, and we're going to be building out some of the interior and exterior for the different cabins. So we can see here we have 3 different passenger cars that we're going to be working with. And this is our skeleton model up here at the top for the passenger's car skeleton model. And we're going to be activating this and copying some geometries from it. So here you can see some of that some of those reference information and design information we were talking about here. We have some of the general layout information for what we want the windows to look like, what we want the support structure inside of the car to look like. You can see to the left there, we have some of what the door outline should look like. So we're just going to be selecting this information that we might need for someone. For example, if someone was working on the interior, maybe they want that interior structure, maybe the windows, but they don't need anything else. So we copy those into a kit, and then we name it whoever it's for. So in this case, for interior, and then they would be able to utilize this information. So if I was the lead designer for something like this, I could come in, take these informations, copy the geometries, and put them down into the skeleton models for the subassemblies. And then whoever is working on maybe the interior, on the windows, on the doors, on the wheels, whatever it is, can utilize that information that's been shared with them without having to see the full geometry of the model or anything like that. So to start off, we're gonna go ahead and save off everything that we've done. And then we're gonna open up our structure here as if we were, a different engineer who's gonna be doing some work on this interior here. So you can see the geometry that's been shared with us, and we're going to utilize that to be able to do our work. So all we have to do is, now that we have that, do what we would normally do in Creo. Take this, I'm going to do, maybe a sweep, or I'm going to do an extrude, whatever it is that I'm doing. I'm going to utilize that information that's been given to me to do the work that I need, and that's all I need. In this case, I was able to quickly open up this section of the train and be able to create that support structure and go ahead and pattern that out. And just like that, I'm basically done with creating the interior support structure for the train, and I didn't need to see any other parts of the train to do that. So not only if I was an external partner, I don't need to have the full model, which is always good for your intellectual property, but even internally, now I don't have to worry about the rest of the model. I don't have to load the rest of the model. I don't have to worry if I'm the lead design engineer what they're constraining off of, or maybe getting their information off of. I know what they're using, so that if I have to make a change later, okay, well, this is what I shared out with them. So if we make a change to these, this will affect the work that they did on their sub-assemblies, things like that. So next, we can go ahead and open up, another part. Again, if we're a different person, we could concurrently work on this as well. And again, now I'm working for the windows. I'm just going to be doing my regular job inside of Creo. Yeah, I don't have the full model, but I have all the information that I need to do my work. I have the design information for the window here. So I can go ahead and do this, exactly as I normally would, create out this window, and then share that information back into the master copy, all without having to ever see everything. So here, again, we're just gonna keep working on building out this window, do your normal work, and then share it back. So now that we've made our window, we can copy the pattern this out again. And so we could pattern this out for all the other walls if we wanted to, or do it however you want. If you want to do, each individually cutting them as you would normally work. Now that we've done that, we can save this back in. And again, this could now be added to our master geometry. So there's a quick example of 2 different people being able to work concurrently off of those copied geometries that were given to them in their skeleton models. So we'll go ahead and do one more here real quick. So in this case, if we were someone who's maybe working on the door, again, now we're getting a little bit of different information from each of the other people. And that's the point, everyone doesn't need the same type of information, but is the person who's sharing out the geometries. You see what they need, you give them that so that you can start from top-down design. Take the top overall layout, share out those general geometry informations that you need, where something's going to be attached to something else, whatever it is, and then go ahead and start working on the more detailed work after that. So in our case here, we're building out the door. We've put our door in place. We can do some extrudes there through the door. We could shell it out if we wanted to change whatever the thickness is that we want for the door. And we're basically done with the door then now as well. So just like that, you could have 3 people concurrently working and quickly be able to get, what it is that they're doing done. And now we've almost got basically a fully built out interior and exterior for our train here. So we can add that into our master representation. And then, if we had done more work, we could, realistically share out information for people to be able to do work on the interior for things like chairs, the springs on the wheels here, all of that information. And, again, the key being here, you didn't have to share out that full model. They didn't have to work with that full model. They just worked with the copied geometries that you shared from your skeleton model to their skeleton model so that they could do what they needed to do. To close off here, we have a few PowerPoint slides, which is probably going to pause my screen. Oh, no, yep, it did. All right, I think I know how to play it this time at least, though, so hopefully get back here a little bit quicker. Okay, so to close off, some value that this extension can bring to a team is, first off, you can have improved performance. You can have less time dealing with models. Again, you don't need the full model. You don't have to worry about loading the full model. You don't have to worry about constraining or working with something that you don't want them to be working with, which means that you have more time to do your actual design work. And you can also make changes with more confidence. Again, I know we didn't go into a lot of those sub capabilities, but you have the ability to switch out parts. You can more efficiently reuse your geometry because you can copy that geometry and share that out with people. You can work collaboratively, internally and externally, more efficiently, all while being able to protect your intellectual property. And what that means is that you can have better quality, customized products for your customers faster, because you can do your work more quickly, more easily, and focus on what you should be doing. So that covers, high-level overview of the Advanced Assembly extension today. Thanks for your time. I don't know if there's any questions that have been coming in throughout.
At this time, if you have any questions, feel free to send those along, and we will answer them. Once again, this is a tremendous tool to help you work concurrently, to help you run a top-down design process, and just overall be able to manufacture or design faster than what you're able to do right now. So, Cody, I think you did a great job with the overview and the demo. Joe, is there anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, if I could just chime in for a minute.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so 2 things that really aren't highlighted in this demonstration, but I'd like to point out to who's ever attending the webinar, is 2 very important features of advanced assembly that a lot of our customers take advantage of. One is called a copy geometry feature, and the other is called ProProcess for assemblies. And the best way to think of copy geometry is when you're working in the context of an assembly and you need to use a part as a starting off point for a second part, which mates together in the assembly, copy geometry allows you to do exactly that. So you have a part in an assembly, let's say it's a flange and there's a bolt hole circle on the flange of a valve, and now you have to make the mating part to that flange valve. Well, you can copy all that surface and hole geometry and use that as the basis of your second part. The important thing with that is now you've established associativity between the 2 mating parts. So if you change the original part, the base part, let's say the bolt hole circle, the second mating part will update, and any screws, bolts, washers that are attaching those 2 components together will update as well, not only in the models, but in the bill of materials. ProProcess for assemblies is another feature of advanced assembly that allows you to document your assembly process. So what it does is allow you to take a look at your entire assembly and basically in different steps, think of it as pages as you would present it to somebody on the shop floor. show exactly step by step which components are being used, which are being consumed, each part of the process, and then allow you to put in notes and leader lines and text and such to indicate exactly what somebody has to do to take the complete assembly and part by part put it together. And that's all really, Rob, I wanted to point out.
Thanks, Joe. That is a good overview. So before we're dismissed, I just want to show one more slide really quickly. I want to thank everybody for attending and just let our audience know this is how to get in touch with us. You can send us an email at info@3hti.com. You can call us toll free at 866-624-3HTI. Or if you forget all that after the webinar and you want to get in touch with us, you can just respond or reply to any of the emails that you've received from GoToMeeting because they will come directly to me. So if you want to see a more detailed demo on the Advanced Assembly extension, specifically to your individual needs, we're more than happy to do that for you. Just get in touch with us. So Joe and Cody, I want to thank you both for being on today, and most importantly, I want to thank our audience for joining us today. So we're dismissed 7 minutes earlier than I thought, which is good. So enjoy an extra 7 minutes today, everybody, and have a great afternoon.
Take care, all.
Yep. Thanks for your time, everyone.